Right. Hi guys, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Mute. How do I mute? All right, guys. Good morning. Good afternoon. How are you?
Doing great.
Good morning.
Awesome. Hey, do me a favor. I want you guys to participate, but if you're not speaking, if you wouldn't mind, please muting your microphones so everybody can hear. Before we begin, any questions or comments about last Monday's class? No. Crystal, man, you do a lot of driving. I think you were in your car last time as well, huh?
Yeah, I'm just heading to the office, and then I have an appointment with my car at 2 o'clock, so I'll be driving a little bit then too. Sorry.
Oh no, listen, I'm glad you're participating. Really glad that you're participating. So guys, again, this is your call. I'm simply here to facilitate. I want you to feel like you have the ability to interact and ask questions. I'm going to be covering a lot of information today. It's really about the most important aspect of building out a real estate organization. And Vicki Jackson, what do you think I'm going to talk about today? What's the most important thing in having a successful real estate entity?
Oh, database.
It is. It's absolutely having a database. And I know I'm almost afraid to say the word because it's the dirtiest non-4-letter word in the dictionary. And the word is prospecting. Prospecting is the rainmaking element of real estate. We can call it prospecting, we call it business developing, we could call it lead generating, but the strength, guys, the strength of your business is absolutely predicated based on the strength and size of your database. And again, people have always said to me, you know, when I did a lot of transactions my second year in the business, inevitably people would say, so you must have been really good at this. Well, I don't know if I was really good at real estate. I think I was really good at staying focused each and every day and taking the time and putting forth the effort every day of identifying a potential audience of prospective clients, meaning a potential buyer and seller. I also believe that every moment that I wasn't lead generating and prospecting was absolutely me taking money, crumpling it up and throwing it into a fireplace. I was watching it go up in smoke. You know, to me, prospecting, it's almost like brushing your teeth, right? So I'm going to make a weird analogy here. Would anybody think about going out of their house and interacting with people without brushing their teeth? And the obvious answer is, Eric, don't be silly. That sounds disgusting. It's, I'm not able to comprehend that. Well, to me, being in a sales-based where we're based on our ability to sell a product or service, and if you're not prospecting on a daily basis, that's almost as weird to me as not brushing your teeth. It's not comprehensible, because that's what you get paid to do. You only get paid when you're working with a buyer or seller. So honestly, how much time do you think should be spent prospecting? And the answer is, you ready? The majority of your day. Is there any on the call today, or any title people on the call today? Anybody?
Hi,
Nope.
I am.
Marisol,
I'm a title
hi.
person.
How are you?
Hi.
So
Getting you.
I want to ask you a question. What are you in title?
Yes, I own a title company.
So I want to ask you a question. What percentage of your time is spent getting in front of realtors on a weekly basis so you can obtain a greater portion of market share?
I would say about 80% of my time is networking with realtors, whether on the phone or in person.
So I've never spoken to Maricel previously. That's Maricel telling you what her day is like. But if you're truly, if you're in sales and you're about building that all important database, you should be running an effective business like Maricel, where you're spending 70, 80% of your time lead generating and prospecting. I'm going to share this with you. If you look at the top agents in the United States, the people that are doing $500,000 and above, and I know Todd Watkins is on the call right now. Todd, honestly, without fudging your numbers at all, what percentage of your day? Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, sorry, I'm getting yelled at as I'm walking out here. I'll tell you, prospecting for me is I spend probably 2 to 3 hours a day. I've got in my calendar reserved from 8 to 11 every day for prospecting. And then if I don't have appointments in the afternoon, I am definitely hammering the phones from 4 to 6.
Excellent.
And if I could just, take a step back. I know I'm totally going to hijack your presentation here for a second, Eric, but I'll tell you guys,
I don't want you to do, because I got a lot to cover today, but yeah.
All right. I'll just tell you, I mean, really a lot of it's just, it's setting the habits and being consistent. I mean, that's really all real estate is. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simple.
I love it. And Todd is an icon agent. Todd does over $500,000 a year. I'm going to tell you, when I did over 100 units my second year in the business, I don't know if I was good or bad, but I would say 80% of my day, realistically, 80% of my day was spent lead generating and prospecting. And God forbid somebody try to get in the way of me being successful.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I shared with you guys that I am bad. My conversion numbers aren't very good, Eric. But, it's a matter of just picking up the phone and prospecting.
It is. It absolutely is. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Please.
This is Adama.
Hey, Adama, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I spent a year and a half prospecting, networking with my investors. I have 2,700 real estate investors in my network. And I spent a year and a half networking with them face to face. Now my challenge is I'm getting people that want to buy. I'm getting a business where these investors now are calling me, hey, I found what I want, da, 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 da. And now I'm having trouble or challenge continuing to prospect while I try to take care of the business that's coming in. And I love our KV Core, but I dumped in like 3,000 leads and I'm still combing through them. So I know once I get through that process, I can do a lot of my follow-up work automatically, just right now.
I got it, Dama. So what I think I hear you saying is, right now, some of the time and effort that you put into prospecting is in fact coming to fruition. And how do you continue prospecting? It must be on your calendar, and nothing can impede it. Because the reason, right, you want to do this, Adama, is that most realtors' business goes like this, right? You have peaks and you have valleys, peaks and valleys. And why do you think you have peaks and valleys? Is because what happens is we stop lead generating, we stop prospecting, so the funnel of prospective buyers and sellers gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then we get into that fearful state that we've got no more clientele. So what my recommendation to you is, I did 128 units my second year in real estate, and I'm going to tell you the most important thing, I never focused on the deal. The deals were the deals. It didn't matter. That was already money in the bank. My focus was continuing to always build a relationship, so I had a strong pipeline and a vibrant real estate business. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. My challenge is, I'm so excited about KV Core, and I spent a lot of time training and learning KV Core, and I took my eye off of a deal, and the deal kind of fell apart because it's hard to walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
So I'm going to give you a quick response because I have so much to cover today.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something to you. Don't beat yourself up about a deal falling apart. You know why a deal comes together? Why do you think a deal comes together, Adam?
Because they got a willing buyer and seller.
You got reasonable people that want the deal to happen. And what I've always noticed, although I was a pretty successful realtor, I always believed if I had to tinker a lot with a deal and use my will to keep that deal together, it wasn't going to stay together anyway. Don't beat yourself up. If a deal doesn't come together, you've got a buyer or seller who didn't want it to come together. And no matter how good of an agent you are, we're not godlike. Does that make sense? Although we like to think we're godlike sometimes, right? But don't beat yourself up. It's absolutely no fault of yours, but never stop prospecting. So to me, when you stop prospecting or you allow somebody to take you away from prospecting, you're allowing them or you're allowing yourself to steal your thunder. It is the most important thing in real estate or any sales organization to identify a funnel of prospective buyers so you could sell your product or service. It's absolutely imperative, guys. So my methodology, and I'm going to get into 7 different types of lead generation techniques today. I don't care which one you do. I'm going to ask you not to have any prejudgment. I'm going to ask you, as I said in the first class, think of putting on a new article of clothing and simply seeing if it fits. See if it makes sense to you. So try to just be open-minded. And then I'm going to talk about 3 new platforms that I think could absolutely give your business a shot in the arm where you could do a minimum of 3, 4, 5 transactions a month. And I'm going to have one of the companies come on in the last 10 minutes called LandVoice. They have got a FSBO program that I'm doing myself. The hardest thing about being a realtor is we look out that big window and we go, gosh, where do I find the next needle in a haystack, right? What I love about expireds and FSBOs is your market has been identified for you. And if you could provide them a value add unlike anybody else, you could scale your business instantaneously. So I'm going to get into 7 different techniques today, and I'm going to get into 3 different things that I'm implementing myself, taking advantage of what's happening in the current marketplace. So to me, prospecting, as I mentioned, is something that's habitual. It doesn't happen when I want it to happen. It happens because I call myself a professional, and I do it not when the spirit moves me, and I do it not when it will look good on my resume. I do it in perpetuity because I want to lead my organization and lead by example. I'm going to tee this up with a quick video. I hope you can see or hear this video. I'm going to share my screen. It's a 1-minute video. I'm going to play this for you, then I'm going to get into the specifics. If I go too quickly, please stop me. Let me see if I'm able to. Chris, I don't have access. Host disabled, participant screen sharing. Hey, Chris, will you enable me to share, bud? Can't share. Hey, Chris, can you hear me? Chris Bacquiel? Yes, okay, Chris can hear me. It says host disabled, participant screen sharing. I am trying to share a screen. And unfortunately, it's not letting me do that. All right, Chris is trying to figure it out. We'll come back to this. So when you're prospecting, I want you to have two common thoughts. One is that every time someone says no to you, that you are, did I log into Zoom account and start the meeting? I did not, Chris. I put in the URL. And I'm not going to log out, so it's all right. Can you share the screen, Chris? Okay, awesome. Do me a favor, just put on your mic, so it'll be much quicker to do it via mic as opposed to the chat. So two common concepts I want you to consider when prospecting. One is that every time someone says no to you, it means you're that much closer to a yes. Every time someone says no, if you are prospecting consistently, you're that much closer to a yes. And every no has a certain dollar amount attached to it. What do I mean by that? One of my methodologies when I was an active agent was to go out there and I did a lot of door knocking. Why did I do a lot of door knocking? I didn't knock on a door, Will, because I like the sound of rat, tat, tat. Why did I knock on a door? Because if sales is about solving people's problems and meeting people's needs, I wanted to get face-to-face with somebody to ask appropriate questions so I could build out that all-important database. And Jim, what I would do is I'd spend a lot of time door knocking. And I would typically knock about 200 doors a day. I'm not telling you all to knock 200 doors a day. I could see everybody quickly leaving the call. I would knock on 200 doors a day. And out of 200 doors, 100 people wouldn't be home. But what's the positive there is that I would have 100 conversations. Out of 100 conversations, guys, 92 people told me that I was too tall. They didn't like the fact that I had brown hair at the time. They didn't like salespeople, and they especially detested realtors. 92 people, I promise you, told me to go jump in the lake or said something stronger. But what did that mean? Adama, what did that mean? 8 people a day. 8 people a day, listen,
That's right.
based on the strength and the questions that I asked clearly indicated to me that they had the need for my real estate services and they were open-minded about doing business with me, which meant I was building out a humongous organization. I was putting 8 people minimum in my database. Now watch, my average commission back then, or professional fee for service, was $9,000. What is 9 times 8? It's a $72,000 payday. And this is a bad business, huh? So with no capital outlay, I was putting myself in a position of having a $72,000 payday. So if somebody said yes or somebody said no, I didn't care. Because if I had 100 conversations and my potential payday was 72,000, if I divide 100 conversations into 72,000, each conversation I had, whether somebody said they love me yes or they hate me no, each conversation was worth $720. So Will Estrada, tell me to go jump in the lake.
Jump in the lake, Eric.
Thank you, buddy. That's $720. Jimmy, tell me that you want to do business. You've got the need for my services. It doesn't make a difference. You're all worth $720. Every conversation has a certain dollar amount attached to it. So what I'm trying to stress here to you is the following. Every time somebody said no to me, I knew that 8 would say yes out of 100 conversations. Every time someone said no, I was that much closer to receiving a yes, and every no was worth $720, just like every yes. And that's how I would trick my mind to stay the course each and every day, despite having to deal with some really rude people that basically did a lot of pushback. Does that make sense? I want your prospecting to be on your calendar, and I'm going to spend next class on Friday talking about your calendaring and your drip campaign, but I want your prospecting as part of your calendar. It should be a daily ritual, like brushing your teeth. And every day that you are not prospecting, all you're doing is you are self-sabotaging your business. And again, this does not happen when you feel like doing it. This happens even when you don't want to do it, because that's your job as a professional. Chris, you are rock solid. Thank you for doing this. I am going to try to play a video here. So share. Stop share.
Eric, while you're loading that, I'll tell you from my personal experience, the days that you don't want to make the phone calls, honestly, were some of the biggest days that I'd have. I mean, there were days where I'd set 5 appointments in a 2 or 3 hour period. And there's other days that, I mean, you grind and nothing happens. But, you know, it's just, it's if you consistently work at it, you're going to be successful.
Love it. Okay. Guys, I want to play a video for you real briefly. And hopefully this moves you in the same way that it moves me. It's 1 minute. And I think it's a great kickoff to really kind of talk about prospecting. Okay. Where is movie here? Okay.
Please be Glengarry Glen Ross.
Stop sharing. Let's try it one more time if I can't get it to work. Real estate training.
Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street. Come on.
Okay. Chris, what I'm trying to do is I have a video downloaded and I'm sharing screen and trying to play this video.
You have your video player up already on one of your screens?
Say it again.
Do you have your video player already up? Is the video already pulled up?
It is.
Okay.
I have it minimized.
Okay. Well, maximize it. Do you have dual screen?
Whoa. Dual screen, you just threw me over the top here, over the edge here.
These monitors on your computer.
Say it again, Chris.
Which screen to share?
Say it again.
When you hit share screen, it's going to ask you if you have multiple monitors, which screen to share. Just select the screen that the video is on and then maximize it and press play. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's not happening. All right. Well, I'll do this some other time. But I'm going to get into the 7 different ways of prospecting. Okay. So 7 different methods to, in fact, lead generate, prospect, or business develop. And the first one is actually working a farm area. I'm a big believer in working a farm area. Is there anybody right now that works a farm area consistently? Anybody?
I work a demographic.
Demographic. I'm
It's
talking
not
about
a
an
physical
actual little
farm.
farm area where it's a certain number of homes. I'd love your input, guys. How big is your typical farm area? Anybody want to contribute?
Usually be about 400 homes.
It is. Perfect. Lisa, what do you got for me?
587,
Say it again, please.
587 homes in our
Not
community.
bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Todd?
I dabble. I'm not as consistent as I need to be, but I've got about 2,000 homes.
Okay. So the key to working a farm area is not to have a massive farm area. I believe your farm area, you want to walk it once a month. Why? Repetition is the mother of learning. And the more people see you, the more people identify you as being a real estate professional, when the need arises for them to sell their home, you're first in mind. So I'm a big believer of working a farm area and walking it once a month. You ever notice when you typically smile at somebody, they don't flip you the bird? Go into your farm area with a sense of personality and smile at people. Practice not talking a lot. Practice asking questions, because when you ask people questions, you're going to engage them. I want your farm area to be no more than 400 homes typically. Why do I say that?
Really?
Because if you have a massive farm area, let's say you've got 2,000 homes in your farm area and you're committed to walking that farm area every month, that's the only thing you're going to be doing. You're going to be going back to the same people over and over again. And if I said to my friend Patty Norton, let's say Patty is in my farm area, and I said, Patty, if I said was in the farm area and Patty said to me, Eric, thank you for stopping by, but I am going to die in this home. I am never going to leave. What would be the sense of me going back a month later and asking her, is she now terminally ill, right? That would be silly. So what I do is I walk a farm area every month where there are 400 homes, with my intent being building a relationship based on trust and confidence. I'm not going to talk a lot. There are two metrics I want you to have when establishing your farm area, and any good title agent, title rep can run these metrics for you. Number one, I want the farm area to have a minimum turnover ratio of 3 to 5%. Michael Zemansky, you remember, why do I want a minimum turnover ratio of 3 to 5%, buddy?
Because you don't want to waste your time somewhere that there's no homes flipping over.
I don't want to work a dead farm. Why would I work a farm area that has a 1 or 2%? I want to know when I go into a farm, there's a certain amount of sales being generated. The second metric I want you to consider when selecting a farm of 400 homes is I don't want to have one agent that has dominant market share. So if my friend Rich Holzer has 20 listings or 15 listings, if my friend Rich has more than 30 to 40% of the market in the farm area that I want to go into, I'm going to simply select another farm area. In the same way that if I wanted to open up a coffee shop, I probably wouldn't open up right next door to Starbucks. That would be silly, right, Lisa?
Absolutely.
I'm going to focus where somebody hasn't dominated a brand, so I'm not picking a fight with an 800-pound gorilla. It's a fight I could win. So your metrics are 3 to 5% turnover ratio, right? With no one agent that has dominant market share. So let's look at this. Let's say your farm area. Dan, would you mute your phone? Mute your Zoom? Thanks. So if you have a farm area that is 400 homes and there's 5% turnover ratio, we know prior to going into that farm that there are 20 sales to be generated. And my goal as a real estate professional is to brand that area and secure part of those 20 sales. Let's take a look at the first document. So I want you to walk the farm area once a month. I want you to walk it. I don't want you to talk at people. I want you to ask questions. Focus on the relationship. Don't look at people as paychecks. Be spiritually healthy about this. Let's look at the first document. This is called the farm intro letter. In the event someone's home, you're simply going to hand them the letter and make small conversation. In the event they are not home, you're going to take your farm intro letter and you're going to basically just put it right in their door jamb. Let's take a look at the farm intro letter. Okay, what it says is the following. I'm going to move this out of the way so I can read this with you. It says, hello, my name is Eric Orland. I'm a real estate professional with ABC Real Estate Company. I wanted to take a brief moment and say hello and introduce myself. As a real estate professional, I've been assisting people in this community make their largest purchase or to dispose of their most important asset by rendering the highest level of services possible. It is my intent, how refreshing, this is what you could expect from me. It is my intent to build a relationship with you. I'd like to forge this relationship by keeping you and your neighbors informed of the real estate sales activity in the area. It's important that you stay well informed and understand the valuation of your home. How do you build credibility with people? Tell them you're going to do something and follow through. Here we go. I will be walking the neighborhood every month to see if I can answer specific questions pertaining to your home and providing information I believe you will deem valuable. Please feel free to visit my website at ericorland.com without obligation or interference in the value of your home or any other home in the neighborhood that might be of interest. I'm happy to assist you in putting in place a property search, which will send out automatic updates and information you might find pertinent. I'm hopeful we'll have the opportunity to get to know each other and develop a relationship based on trust and confidence. Please contact me should you or anyone you know need the services of a real estate professional. My pledge is to always deliver the highest level of services possible and serve our community with pride. Guys, why do you think I say our community with pride? Who knows what that's called?
You're building rapport right there. You're trying to pull them in and look at you as part of the community.
I am, Michael. It's called a similar situation close. That there's a commonality. There's something that exists between the two of us. That is called a similar situation close. So in all of my marketing, I am going to use trial closes, assumptive closes, similar situation closes. That is a similar situation close. That is your first marketing piece, letting people know what your intent is, what they should expect from you, and what your commitment is to them. And then you have to follow through on it. Now, if you send out this letter and tell people you are going to walk the area once a month and don't do it, what have you just done? You shot yourself.
Credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lost the credibility.
Absolutely.
The key to working your farm, it doesn't happen overnight, Pedro. It's consistency. Consistency is the main thing about a farm, and making that personal contact. They're not buying your marketing materials, folks. They're buying you. They're buying your ability to foster and cement a relationship. Okay, your second marketing piece. This is already written for you. All you have to do is put this either in a postcard or your stationery that has your name, face, logo, and tagline on it. The second marketing piece is the following. It's called Staying in the Loop. Let's take a look at this together. Okay. How do I minimize this? Okay. Okay. Hi there. Eric Orland here with your monthly real estate update to keep you in the loop of this real estate sales activity in our neighborhood. There goes that similar situation close. You can absolutely count on me to keep you informed on what is happening so you remain keenly aware of the current valuation of your property. I'm playing right into the credibility factor. I told you what I'm going to do, and I'm following through. Please feel free to contact me should you or any of our neighbors have specific questions that I can address. It is a privilege to have the opportunity to serve our wonderful community. And what you're simply going to do is you're going to list all of the properties that have come on the market, that have gone into contract, or have closed in the last 30 days. The reason this is important is now you are providing them information that is relevant and pertinent to their home. You're going to hand deliver this in a postcard right into your farm area to 400 homes every month. Again, remember to have your name, face, logo, and tagline. You are going to do a couple of other things at the exact same time. Number one is you are going to list 3 positive events that will be transpiring in that particular neighborhood. And I want it to be granular. I want people to feel like you are the Pied Piper, that the source of information is coming from you and is being pushed out to them. So I want you to talk about garage sales. You know, let's support Michael Friedman and his family at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Michael and his family are hosting a garage sale. Just wanted to bring this to your attention if you're in the area and would love to stop by. Congratulations to the Boys and Girls Club for raising $50,000 to the homeless shelter. Congratulations to the Fort Lauderdale football team beating Miami 25-17. I want people to feel like information is coming to you and is being relayed out to them. You know, did you know that there's a free concert for Central Park, or that they're having a special at the movie theater? I want, again, people to feel like you have your ear to the ground and you know what is going on. So the first, what we're doing is we're sending out relevant and pertinent information, further branding you as a professional. Secondly, we're now showing through our actions that we are the resident professional that knows what's happening in our neighborhood. And lastly, what I want you to do is I want you to host a semi-annual barbecue at a local park in an effort to build a sense of community. And what I would do is I would simply put out a handwritten invitation and say, in an effort to build a sense of community and spend some quality time together, I'd like to invite my neighbors to participate in a barbecue that I'm hosting, to simply stop by, say hello, to build a sense of community. I want to ask you a question. A lot of realtors on the call today. How many realtors do you think are getting this granular in their farm area?
None. Few. 1 out of a million.
Nada. Nada.
Yes.
If there's a 5% turnover ratio, play the numbers with me here, Adama. If there's a 5% turnover ratio, that means there are 20 listings to be generated.
That's right.
20 listings to be generated. If you took the time to walk your farm area every month and did what we just talked about, is it fair to say you could capture 10 of those listings?
Absolutely.
10
Absolutely.
listings with an average commission in most of the people's area, you're looking at $100,000 income by simply working your farm. And if half of the people in your farm decided to purchase in the general area, you now have 15 new sales that happen before you fell out of bed in the morning. Pedro, does this make sense what I'm saying, buddy?
Absolutely, it does.
So Eric, can I ask a quick question?
Please, Jim, fire away. It's your class.
So when you're talking about farming and you're talking about 400 different houses, I used to send out a newsletter and go visit these people once a month. It was like 128 people, but it's not all being done in the same day, right? It's an hour here, 2 hours here, 4 hours here. It's just making sure that you're getting to all 400 houses, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it should be in your calendar when you're going to walk your farm. You know, in the same way that we teach our children to not plan to, you know, people don't plan on failing, they fail to plan. You're just going to put it in your calendar. I used to do 200 and 200 at a time, right? But you could break it down 100, 100, 100, 100. But the key, Jim, is going in there, walking, getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly, and building a relationship with people. And it's as simple as, how do you build a relationship with somebody? We talked about that in the last class. Ask people questions about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and ask them if they have any interest in knowing the value of their house or anything in particular about the real estate activity going on in that specific neighborhood. You're asking, you're not telling, you're asking. Your goal is to engage them, not talk at them, right? Okay, second way to build a real estate business, and you are gonna like this, I promise you. And this is not gonna happen 1, 2, 3, but you could make crazy money. Has anybody ever taken a real estate coaching class called the Core? It's called the Core. Does anybody know the Core?
Yep.
It is. Vicky, I know that you know it. Pedro, you know it. Core is an interesting coaching platform. It's more or less for mortgage professionals, but they do have a real estate arm. It's $2,500 a month to coach. And it's run by the real estate side is run by an agent out of Orlando, Florida. And her name is Rita Casey. And Rita Casey has been immensely successful. And she had a couple of core beliefs. Rita Casey believed that her focus, her time and effort was spent reaching out to businesses that were in a position to give her business. Rita Casey, like myself, believed that every relationship in life needs to be reciprocal in nature. Otherwise, you have an unbalanced and unhealthy relationship where one person usually has a resentment, feeling like they're always giving while the other person is always taking. Folks, if you are spending money in your community and you are helping other people ring their cash register, they have to help you ring yours. Going to the same restaurants, the same dry cleaners, the same nail salons, the same hair salons, when is the last time they referred you business? You have to start thinking like this. Okay, you need to give some serious thought to going through your checkbook and going through your credit card statements and see where you are spending money on a monthly basis and simply reaching out and asking politely how you can benefit as well from that relationship in an effort to grow your real estate business. You have been using some of the same services forever. One being your insurance agents. Everybody in this call, I assume, has either property and casualty insurance for their car or their home. When is the last time, hey Phil, how long have you had your insurance agent for? How long have you been writing a check to your insurance agent? Be honest. You're muted, Phil.
To an insurance agent?
Yeah, to your property and casualty, the guy or gal who writes your car insurance or homeowners. How long have you been writing a check for? And I can't hear you. think we could all assume, sorry Phil, I can't hear you, bud. I think we could all assume that most of us have been using the same insurance agent for a long, long time. When is the last time that insurance agent gave you back business so you can enjoy a reciprocal relationship? I want you to give some thought to the following. The average insurance agent in our country, you ready guys? The average property and casualty insurance agent in our country has 1,000 clients in their database that they are selling insurance to. The average, Debbie Peters, has 1,000 clients. How often do people move today? Every 5 years. That means that your insurance agent is going to have a turnover in their database of 20% every year. What is 20% of 1,000?
200.
Your insurance agent has 200 people in their database right now that are active clients that are going to wind up putting their home on the market within the next 12 months. Now, I want you to look at this for a second. If your insurance agent isn't reaching out and identifying which one of those people may be moving, are they in jeopardy of potentially losing their business by not being able to keep that policy enforced? Would it benefit each and every one of you to take out this insurance agent that you have been paying buku bucks to for a long time and simply ask them, were they aware that people in the state that they're living in typically are moving every 5 years, which means 20% of their database may in fact be moving? And if that happens and they're not aware of it, do they now see that they're potentially in jeopardy of losing their clientele? Now, Vicki, correct me if I'm wrong, but an insurance agent doesn't want to lose clients. They want to maintain, they don't want attrition, and then they're going to spend money marketing to get more clients so they can make more money, correct?
Let me go ahead and listen to this. The rest of it.
Why wouldn't you take your insurance agent out for lunch and simply explain what I've just explained to you? Mr. or Mrs. Insurance Agent, are you aware that potentially 200 of your clients may in fact be moving? And if you're not reaching out to your database, to your clientele on a consistent basis, you're in fact in jeopardy of losing business, not gaining business. And Mr. or Mrs. Insurance Agent, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be your go-to person. In the event that any of these people that you identify are moving, will you think of me so we could now begin to enjoy what I would call a mutually beneficial and reciprocal working relationship? And has any other agent discussed this with you? And Debbie, you being my insurance agent, what I'd like to do, Debbie, is I'd like to make a further commitment to you. Any one of the buyers or sellers that I'm working with, I'd like to be your referral source and help you build your business. Will you now commit to reaching out to 10 of your clients on a weekly basis? Do you know if you had one powerful insurance agent referring you 200 transactions, my God, what the heck would happen to your business, Lisa? It would blow up. Stop letting them take advantage of you. Doesn't mean you have to be mean, but you have to understand you are a professional and you need to act like a professional by saying, I want a relationship where both of us value. In the same way we wouldn't let our spouses or our significant others cheat on us, don't let people cheat on you. You're worthy, but you're only worthy once you recognize your worthiness. Does that make sense? Ready? I'm going to piss you off a little bit more. I'm going to piss you off a little bit more. Your CPAs. When's the last time your CPA referred you business? The average CPA in the United States is 300 clients. If 20% of the people move every 5 years, that means your insurance agent, what's 20% of 300? Your your accountant, CPA, has 60 people, 60 clients that are going to put in their home on the market and moving this year. Now, I want to ask you a question. When you filled out your taxes this year, does anyone remember the second or third question on your tax return? What that question was is, have you bought or sold real estate in the last 12 months, creating what we call a taxable event? Well, wouldn't it benefit you to take your CPA out to lunch, I keep on using the word agent and CPA interchangeably. You guys know what I mean. Wouldn't it be beneficial to take your CPA out to lunch and ask them, wouldn't it be beneficial to reach out to your clients and identify who in fact may be buying or selling, so you could explore things like a 1031 and minimize the tax consequences to your client? Would they now, by being able to identify who may buy or sell, would they now be in a position to refer you business? So who are some people, do you think, who are some businesses that would be in a position to take basically gasoline and pour it in a fire and ignite your business? Who do you think, guys, you should be reaching out to? I'll give you a couple of hints. HR managers, especially at hospitals. That's where Rita Casey built her business. What is a hospital's most important resource other than their patients? Damn, I can't hear you.
The staff.
The doctors, the people that heal the patients. At any good hospital, are quality doctors still not always being recruited to elevate that hospital? And are doctors not always being recruited away to go to other hospitals? So would it benefit each and every one of you to reach out to an HR manager at a hospital and say, you know what? I would like to offer you my professional services, so when your doctors are mending your patients, they could focus on the task at hand, and you know that you have a qualified, competent, detailed real estate professional in place to work with your doctors so they can focus on the task at hand. Does that make sense?
Powerful.
So I want you to reach out to HR managers. HR managers want their workers committed, focused, and diligent. By you being a great realtor, that takes away one of their headaches. You want another one? Property managers. Anybody on this call know any property managers?
Me.
Yes, yes.
Do you know what would happen if you had a property manager that has a decent-sized community in a position to refer you business? Your business would blow up overnight. And train that property manager to reach out to all of their renters 90 to 120 days prior to that lease coming due to see what their intentions are. And if their intentions are to potentially buy a home, and I would script this with them, and I would get that property manager insurance license and pay them a referral fee. And my script rule would be something like this. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Property Renter, I wanted to reach out to you to see if I could gauge what your intentions may be in terms of signing another year's lease. Have you ever considered potentially buying a property so you could start building equity for yourself, Phil, as opposed for doing it for a stranger or landlord? Based on where interest rates at today, if I could identify a property and get you into a home of your liking for what you're paying in a similar rent, is that an opportunity you would like to consider exploring? Property purchases instantaneously could in fact blow up your business.
Yes.
What are some other professions do you think that you'd want to reach out to? I want you guys to think.
Apartment complex people.
Apartment complex people?
Attorneys.
So you ready? Vic, you've been in my class before. You're right, Vic. So you ready? So divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, and bankruptcy attorneys, an absolute gold mine. When people go through a divorce, they are going to divvy up their assets. And would not enhance the scope of services, Will, of a divorce attorney to have someone like yourself, somebody who's knowledgeable, somebody who's kind, somebody who's professional, someone who's detailed, to refer out to this person going through a really hard time, going through a divorce? Would that not enhance the scope of services that a divorce attorney provides? So a bankruptcy attorney, an estate attorney, a probate attorney, and a divorce attorney. What else, guys? How about executive recruiters? What do executive recruiters do? They work with executives. They're out there scouring the country trying to identify people that are going to move into particular areas. Would it not benefit them to have somebody like a Patty Norton, who is in a position to work with their clients and make their job easier so that executive gets settled? You ready for another one? I had made a fortune on this one. How about handymen? Do most people spend time and effort preparing their homes before they put it in the market? It's a great way to build a business. So I had been dating somebody in Miami Beach, and she had an exceptionally large home. Here in Florida, I have a thing about sweating. I can't stand putting on a suit and sweating. The nice thing is I don't have to wear a suit in my own home anymore. But I have a thing about sweating. So I would get out of the shower and walk down the stairs in an open shirt, my pink shirt. And I remember seeing handymen. There were 5 or 6 handymen in the house. And I said, hey, buddy, do you mind if I grabbed you for a second? He looked at me and I said, hey, I want to ask you a question. I said, how long have you been prepping the house for? He said, oh, we've been here a couple of months prepping the house. I said, do you know why Diane is having you prep the house? He said, yeah, she's getting ready to put the home on the market. I said, just out of curiosity, how many homes do you prep prior to putting on the market? And he opens up his calendar and he shows me. Folks, handymen are a great source to help you identify potential sellers that can absolutely scale your business. It's a no-brainer. So what I'd like you to do, and this is not going to happen overnight, you're not going to say, hey, I'm going to start calling divorce attorneys and insurance agents and CPAs, and they're going to be there ready, willing, and able. You're going to put this on your calendar and focus on each and every week building relationships with business professionals who are in a place to absolutely help you skyrocket your business. I will tell you that this is the only way Rita Casey has built her business, and she has built a multi-million-dollar business for the last 25 or 30 years. They are out there. Rosie, you have to work the relationships and stay on top of it. And if your insurance agent will not meet you for lunch and is not open to having a reciprocal relationship, what do you think I'm going to tell you to do? And I don't say this to sound nasty. Bye-bye, baby. You're right.
Yep.
It is just not fair and inappropriate. Make sense?
This is
So
amazing.
quick review.
Totally.
Quick review, insurance agents, CPAs, HR managers, divorce attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, estate attorneys, probate attorneys, executive recruiters, credit repair people,
lenders,
and property managers, as well as lenders. Is there any lenders on the call before I put my foot in my mouth here?
No.
Listen, it's typically you as a realtor that is handing off the relationship to your lending professionals. Make sure that relationship is reciprocal, and the same for your title company. You remember, it all starts with each and every one of you. You're the one farming out the business. Make sure some of the bad business is coming back to you. Lisa, what are you thinking? You're grimacing, or are you laughing?
Because I work with some lenders, but they'll give you stuff if it's handy.
Well, start demanding it from them, because you're putting food on their table. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that so the relationship is fair and balanced.
Well, they work with the realtors, so that's how they try to get the realtors to work with them. I get it. I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why.
But the thing is that they're giving the business to somebody. So, you know, I demand it from my lender.
So,
I don't know if most agents realize or not, but lenders are taught to go have 20 to 50 to 100 realtors as their source of business.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I demand semi-exclusivity. I say, look, I get that you guys are going to work with other realtors, but if I'm going to send you 20 applications every month, I better be getting at least one deal you guys kick back to me.
Yep.
All right. Christoph, sorry guys. I am this person who's going to come on the call at the end. I'm just sending him the link. Got it. All right, that's your second way to build a business. Again, it's not going to happen overnight, but if you want to make a fortune in real estate, get an insurance agent, get a CPA, get an HR manager, start referring you business, and it will absolutely blow up your business. And again, I want to say to you, take your own inventory. There's some really good, talented people in this call. I wouldn't just think small about this. Do you know that Rita Casey represents the Orlando Magic? You know what the average basketball player makes? Do you understand the commission that she's making? Somebody on this call today is going to go, you know, I get this. Reach for the moon and grab the stars. Reach out to some big time HR managers. They're not doing you a favor. They want a professional working with their star athletes, their star doctors. As long as you believe you are acting like a professional and honoring your calendar, you'll have no problem approaching somebody. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Third way of building your business is, in fact, the grind. And that was every day I was focused on grinding. And that is asking really hard, pertinent questions. So when I put somebody into my database, I know with a sense of certainty that they absolutely have the need to buy or sell and they're receptive to doing business with me. And I talked about this a little bit in the last class. I do this door knocking or by phone. When you door knock, you're obviously going to speak to less people, but you're going to have a higher conversion ratio because it's very hard typically for somebody to close a door in your face. Right? Christoph, I see that you just joined. I have you on it. I have you on a 250, bud. Right? Okay, so if you are calling by phone, you're going to have a smaller conversion ratio, but you're in fact going to talk to more people. So what is the grind? The grind was each and every day knowing that I had to put a certain number of people in my database so I could hit my financial goal. I had to know with absolute certainty before somebody went into my database, which would activate my drip campaign, that they were worthy. It's kind of like getting married. Why in God's name would you put somebody into your database management system and spend the time, effort, and resources to enhance a relationship that doesn't exist? Is there anybody married? Is there a married woman on this call today? Single gentlemen, there are lots of opportunities then. Okay. Melanie, you're married?
Married with one child.
Okay, so Melanie, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for me to ask you to marry me, correct? Because you're already married.
No,
And
but
why would you put somebody into your database and try to enhance a relationship when there's no potential relationship there and all you're doing is exerting time, energy, and resources? So the grind is the following. I grind several ways. I grind expired listings. You need to hit expired listings because they would become more prevalent in the market. And I'm going to go quickly through your expired script. Again, I go face-to-face with expireds. If I'm going to go face-to-face with expired, I'm going to door knock around that expired so I don't waste time. I take my marketing materials, which is my pre-listing packet. You'll get that in 2 classes. Expired letter, again, in a Federal Express envelope. I go out to the door with the intent to engage them in a conversation by saying the following. Hey, Vicki, my name is Eric. I hate to just stop by, but you and your home was important enough that I actually wanted to introduce myself face-to-face. Vicki, were you aware that your home just expired from the multiple listing service and is no longer on the market? Yeah, we knew that. So Vicki, you're aware then that it can't be shown to prospective buyers and their agents. Yeah, we're not interested. I understand, Vicki. Vicki, if I happen to have a qualified buyer that was willing to pay you a price that was acceptable, would you consider selling the property? Well, do you have a qualified buyer? Because that's what most of them are going to say. They wouldn't have had their home in the market if they weren't interested. Well, do you have a qualified buyer? Well, you know, Vicki, there's no such thing as a qualified buyer until I know what you as the seller has and what my buyer wants. What I do have, and I'm going to take them to what's called an alternative close, Jimmy. What I do have is the opportunity to preview your property. Is today in the early or latter part of the afternoon better for you, or tomorrow in the early part of the morning? Well, wait a minute. My home was on the market for 6 months. You never once showed the property. Why are you coming here now, Lisa, and telling me that you may have a buyer? Why didn't you show the property was in the market? What type of scam are you running, Jim? Yeah, it's a great question. I'm sure you're aware that literally thousands of homes come on and off a real estate market. Would you agree? Would it not be, these are all questions. I'm not talking, I'm asking. Would it not be impossible, Lisa, for you, for anybody for that matter, to know all of the inventory? Hey, Lisa, do you know what the primary goal or objective of a good listing agent is? It's to get all of the other agents excited about your property so they show the property. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Do you know the reason, Lisa, I didn't show your property? Because nobody got me excited, but I'll be sure not to make that same mistake.
Ow. Mm.
Guys, that script was worth millions of dollars. And it is easy. You have to internalize it. And it has to come off as natural as like, hey, Patty, how was your weekend? Do anything special? It has to roll with a sense of confidence. And the more you role play this, not using my words, but being authentic and using your words, it will flow from you. Second grind, and I did this around expireds, open houses, and I'm going to repeat what I said last time. I did this around expired, open houses, and properties that have just been listed or sold, or even when I had a qualified buyer. And what I would do is I would approach sellers with the intent of giving them something of value.
Can you say that again, because you broke up?
Sorry, can you hear me better?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit leading up to what you just said.
What I did is I grinded around properties that had expired, my open houses, properties just listed or sold, or if I happen to have a buyer. And my mindset, as I had mentioned the last time, was always the following. I was always interested in creating a relationship by coming from a place of giving, because the more you give, the more you receive. So what I was going to do is give something of value to the seller, Mike, which would give me or allow me the opportunity to ask appropriate questions to see if I could be of service. That's my mindset. The more you give, the more you receive. So what I would do, I would pitch it the following three ways. If it was an open house, hey, Josh, my name is Eric. I'm with ABC Real Estate Company. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but I'm simply popping by to let you know your neighbor's home was on the market right down the street at 1313. Were you aware of that? Well, Josh, were you aware the home is actually being held open this weekend? I wanted to personally invite you to see if you'd be available. Any chance you could pop by the open house Sunday from 1 to 4 to see if perhaps you happen to know of a friend, a relative, or a coworker that would have an interest to moving to our neighborhood? Come on, guys. Simple. It's a simple invite to an open house to see if they know of a friend, relative, or coworker that may want to move to our area. Who doesn't like to preview a property? Same thing around expired listings. Hey, Rosa, my name is Eric. I'm with ABC Real Estate Company. I was simply popping by today to inform you that your neighbor's home down the street that had been on the market at 1234 Main Street has recently expired from the multiple listing service. Were you aware of that? Rosa, I was wondering if I could ask for your assistance. I would like to be the real estate professional that actually gets that home sold. And I was popping by today to ask you if you know perhaps of a friend, a relative, or a coworker that may have an interest in moving to the neighborhood. You're strong, I'm weak, you're empowered, can you help me? Third way. Hey Josh, my name is Eric. I'm with ABC Real Estate Company. Were you aware that your neighbor's home had been on the market at 1313 Mockingbird Lane? Well, I wanted to let you know that property actually just closed, and I want to bring to your attention property sold for $10,000 more than it was listed for, which is a 2% increase of what property sold at just 6 short months ago, Adama. Isn't that amazing? Adama, there were several buyers that were looking in the area that are still looking, and I was simply stopping by. In any one of those scenarios, I'm coming to people with buyers. Watch, let's take the open house example. So Jimmy, would you be available to pop by the open house Sunday from 1 to 4 to identify a potential friend, relative, or coworker that wants to move to the area? Yes or no?
Yes.
Excellent. Jimmy, I'm committed to actually going around to 200 of our surrounding neighbors and posing the same question. Common sense would dictate I'm going to identify a new group of buyers. Would you agree?
Yes. Definitely.
Jimmy's a seller. I now have a group of buyers. Jimmy, having said that, have you thought about selling your home now or in the near future? Nope, Eric, I don't think so. I understand, Jimmy, because I don't care about now, right? I'm about a relationship. Jimmy, any thoughts to selling sometime within the next 2 years? 2 years. Well, possibly. Well, if you were to move, when would that be? The first 12 months or perhaps the following 12 months? Any indication if that would be the earlier or latter part of the year? So Jimmy's just indicated, based on the strength of the questions that I'm asking Jim, that he's moving in 18 months. Who remembers what's the second question in the general prospecting script that I'm going to ask him? Jimmy just said, Jimmy, based on the strength of the questions I asked, just indicated that he's moving in 18 months. What should I ask, not tell? What should I ask Jimmy next? Come on, guys, think. This was part of your homework assignment.
Where are you moving to?
You bet. Where is it that you're moving to, Jimmy? I don't want to waste my time. I want to know if Jimmy knows. I want to know where he's moving to. Or is Jimmy just pulling my leg here? Jimmy's moving to, Jimmy, where do you want to move to?
Georgia.
Say again?
Georgia.
Oh, Jimmy's a Georgia boy. All right, Jimmy wants to go to the south. Here we go. So Jimmy now, Jimmy has identified for me that he's moving in 18 months and he wants to move to Atlanta, Georgia. What would be the third? So I know Jimmy is a diamond in the rough. He's a potential hot date, as I indicated last time. What would be the third question I asked Jimmy?
Would he think he'd benefit from me setting up a search?
Why are you moving to Georgia?
Time frame.
Who said that? Who said that?
Why are you moving to Georgia?
What is why, Adama? You don't tell him. Not would be better. Extract, honey. Extract. We're going on a fishing expedition. I know his when. He's moving in 18 months. I know his where. He's moving to Atlanta. I want to know his motivation, because then I feel empowered and I can make the determination if I want to invest in the relationship. Because if I don't know his why, I don't know if he's motivated. Jimmy wants to move because he's getting job transferred. He is motivated and he has to work with a potential realtor. Make sense, Adama?
Yeah. Yes.
When, where, why. The fourth one is how. How's Jimmy going to get there? So what should I do? I should ask Jimmy. Jimmy, are you currently working with a top-notch realtor in the Atlanta area to ensure that you have a smooth and fundamentally sound transaction? You know, Jimmy, here we go. Sales is about features and benefits. Watch. Here's my feature and here's my benefit. Jimmy, one of the high-level services I provide as a realtor is I've compiled a list of the top selling agents in the country. These are the agents who are selling the most property and are therefore most knowledgeable about the inventory. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Jimmy, what I'd like to do is to refer you to an agent who I work with in Atlanta who knows the inventory, can identify the right home for you and get you the most value for your dollar. Do you see the benefit of working with someone like that? I'm not doing this, Adama, for a 25% referral fee. What I'm doing is I'm trial closing him. I'm embedding myself right in the middle of the selling cycle. So when Jimmy has to move, I've already referred him. He's got to work with me. It's not the referral fee. I'm not that narrow-minded. It's the fact that I'm embedding myself in the selling cycle. So when Jimmy does move, I am now locked in with Jimmy.
Wow.
Number five. Number five, I want to extract Jimmy's contact information. I met Jimmy, could be at his door. If I say to Jimmy, hey, Jimmy, what's your phone number? He's going to go, all right, that's a little creepy, right? We don't do that as a society anymore. We don't give up our pertinent information. So how do I extract Jimmy's contact information? Who remembers?
Give some information.
I got to give you something of value, Jimmy. You got to feel compelled to share with me, but you're not going to feel compelled unless I give you value, bud. So Jimmy, I'm sure you're aware that the real estate market has ups and downs, right? In the last 4 to 5 years, we've seen a dramatic increase in valuation, have we not?
Yes.
Prior to that, do you remember what happened to the market? It fell through the floor. Jimmy, what I'd like to do for you is I'd like to manage the market. I'd like to watch the market for you. And if I see any sudden changes in the valuation of the market that may impact the equity that you have in your property, I'd simply like to be in a position for me to reach out So we could take the appropriate course of action and protect that equity. Jimmy, in the event I need to reach out to you, what is the best telephone number for me to reach you at? Jim, do you see how easy that is now? I'm giving something to Jimmy. I'm acting as a trusted advisor. I don't want anything for it. I understand Jimmy's when, where, why, how, and I just got his contact information. What don't I know? What don't I know? I know Jimmy's got the need for my services, but what don't I know?
Price range?
No, Adam, I don't really care about it.
Motivation.
What don't I know?
Motivation.
House.
I know his motivation. He's moving in 3 months. I don't know if Jimmy's open to a relationship with me. I don't know if Jimmy is open to having a relationship. So what should I do?
Ask him.
Yeah. Melanie, did your husband ask when you got married? Or did you ask? Did somebody ask? Ask.
Wow. Did he ask me to marry him?
Yeah, or you ask him. Somebody had to ask, right?
Oh, yeah. He begged.
So what you want to do is you want to ask, man. It's as simple as, hey, Adama, my name again is Eric Orland. I want to be transparent. People want transparency. I want to be transparent. I'd like to be in a position to earn your business and be your real estate professional. I'd like to develop a relationship between now and when you move in 18 months. So at that point in time, you know who I am and the high level of the services I provide. Hey, Adama, are you comfortable with what I'm proposing?
Yes, please.
Then and only then do you go into my database because you've earned the right. You need to internalize the general prospecting script backwards and forwards so you have a healthy database of clients that you know will allow your business to grow. If you don't know the general prospecting script, I'm telling you, you're shooting yourself in the foot because I'm going to give you, Vicki will tell you, she's taking my class, I'm going to give you my listing presentation. It's an advanced tool. I'm going to give you objection handling. It's advanced tools. The general prospecting script is the most important thing that I teach. Whew, I got worked up here.
Wow.
All right. Let's take a 3-minute break. I got a lot to go over. Wow. A lot. Guys, you were great. Any quick questions before I take a break?
No.
I was going to say I'm going to have a heart attack, but I met a friend who said to me, you know, wait until you get home to do that. So I'm not going to have any heart attacks right now. I'm going to breathe. 2-minute break, guys. I'll be right back.
Oh.
Can I have these ribs? You want any of these ribs? No, go ahead.
Works. I don't know how this works. Oh, it says I'm speaking. Hold
on. Okay.
my face. I don't know if people can hear me. I don't know about it. Let me mute it. I probably need to go on mute.
Joshua, get out of bed.
Camera.
One of my favorite people are on the call today. Maria, can you hear me? Villalobos?
Hi.
You enjoying it?
Yes, sir.
You getting anything from it?
Oh, for sure.
So now I'm really gonna put on a show for you because I didn't know you were on the call. Hey, I'm glad that you participated today. Thank you for everything you do. You're exceptional.
Thank you for the invite.
I'm looking forward to Maria being my favorite person too, Eric.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that offline. I now have heart palpitations.
I have a question, Eric.
Yes.
Do we have the capability of like having where we could call or talk to each other and practice like in the mornings or in the evening?
So, I think that's a really good idea, Adama, because I don't think that anybody came out of their mom's womb a great salesperson. I think it is a skill set that it's a skill set that's absolutely developed. I love the fact how engaged you are, Adama, and I think that if, this at the end of the day is a sales job. It is a sales position. You are a professional salesperson, and I think that it would behoove you guys to put together a group and practice the scripts, the objection handling, listing presentation. Let me just mute. I think it would behoove you to get together with people and practice these scripts, because remember, the more comfortable you are, the more confident you're going to be, right? The more confident you are going to be, the more competent people are going to perceive you as being.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Whew. I got a lot to go over with you guys. Here we go. So I am going to pull up. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Can you guys see the email? All right. So I just went through the grind. You ready? The fourth way to build your business is what I call your sphere of influence. It is critically important. I think a lot of realtors rely solely on their sphere of influence. That's not what this class is about. I want you to move more towards your cold market, because what happens if you're only locked in and focused on your warm market and referrals, what happens if your warm market isn't warm? If Will is my buddy, and he is my buddy, but he doesn't have anybody to refer to me, and I'm relying on those referrals, then my business is very susceptible to having peaks and valleys. But I do think it is very important to have sphere of influences. I think that each and every one of you should be locked in or engaged with an organization or an association.
Yes.
I don't care if it's your church, your temple, or your mosque. Little League is something absolutely great. Join a meetup, a book club, a bicycle riding club, and let absolutely everybody know that you are a real estate professional, right?
Yes.
You need to engage in some type of organization or association where you can count on getting consistent lead flow. One of my favorite SOIs are in fact past clients. I'm going to say something to you, it's kind of crazy. Do you realize that we help people make their biggest purchase and dispose of their most important debt? Yet over 80% of the time, we know this person's going to buy or sell within a 5-year period. Do you realize that they don't relist with the same agent, or they don't buy through the same agent? Why does that happen?
Because we don't keep in contact.
That stops today. So what you're going to do is you are going to reach out to your past clients. And how you do that is how many letters are there in the alphabet?
26.
How many weeks are there in a year?
52.
You are going to reach out to everybody whose last name starts with the letter A on week 1. Last name who starts with the letter B on week 2, meaning that you're going to have a minimum of 2 contacts with each past client every year, so it's no longer out of sight, out of mind. I am going to ask you to do a minimum of 3 break breads a week. Who knows what I mean by breaking bread?
Have food together. Lunch.
Share a meal, a cup of coffee, glass of wine. Studies show when you break bread with somebody, it takes the relationship and drives it deeper. And I want you to ask for feedback from your past clients. You know, Will, in an effort for me to deliver the highest level of services possible, I'm always looking for constructive feedback. Overall, can you tell me what I could do to enhance? Would you give me some feedback to tell me what I could do to enhance the level of my services? Was I communicative? Was I responsive? Overall, was I able to deliver you the results that you wanted, needed, and desired? And if so, Will, I'm sure that you realize this is a relationship-based business. Will, could you see your way clear to perhaps referring me to a friend, a relative, or a coworker? Or watch how direct this question is. If your question is too general, it's very hard for someone to grab their arms around it. Will, have you gotten to know the 3 neighbors perhaps on either side, or 5 of the neighbors across the street that have potentially mentioned, that has potentially discussed their desire to move sometime either now or in the near future? I want you to, again, really important, your past clients is a great SOI, and most realtors, 80% of the time, they are not working with the same realtor, 80% of the time. So I'm going to repeat that because it's really important. Letter A, week 1, right? 26 letters in the alphabet, 52 weeks in the year. You're going to call everybody whose last name begins with the letter A in week 1, B, so on and so forth, ensuring you have 2 contacts with past clients each and every year. And I want you to break bread 3 times a week and ask for constructive feedback. And if you've done a poor job staying in touch with your clients, fall on the sword. And it's simple as, hey, Lisa, I've been really remiss in staying in touch with you, and I felt really bad. And I kept on saying, I'm going to reach out tomorrow, and tomorrow would turn into a week, which would turn into a month. And today I said, you know what, the insanity stops. I want to apologize, and I'd love to re-engage with you. Fall on the sword. Another great sphere of influence, maybe the best sphere of influence, is your listing clients. Does anybody right now have a listing or working with buyers?
Yes.
Yes.
I want you to ask them does anyone know what a reticular activator is? Does anyone happen to know what a reticular, Noel, do you know what a reticular activator is?
No.
Something in the brain.
It is. It is, Adama. Anybody know what a reticular activator is?
Yes, it's
Okay.
when you're doing something, you notice that all of a sudden, like you buy a new car or you're thinking about buying a car, all of a sudden you see that same car. So you've got someone who's thinking about buying a house, all of a sudden they're aware of everybody else around them that is looking for a house.
Bingo. Exactly. You nailed that, Marie. So I always like to make the analogy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'd be driving down the freeway, right? And I'd see a car. I go, man, that car is so cool. I want to buy that car. Nobody else is going to have that car. You buy the car, what happens? You see it over and over and over again. Because what happens is your reticular activator is more cognizant. It's been elevated. So when somebody is going through a major life experience, they're going through divorce, they're getting married, they're buying a home, they're selling a home, they're changing jobs, their reticular activator is typically much more elevated in identifying people that are going through the same life experience. I want you to sit down with all of your existing clients and ask them if they know what a reticular activator is. Ask them if they know what a reticular activator is. And simply ask them for constructive feedback, how you're performing. And are they aware that real estate is a referral-based business? And if overall they're happy with the level of services that they provide, your experience is that when people are going through a similar experience, their reticular activator is elevated, and ask them for the referral. Does that make sense? Really, really key. Your SOIs, your sphere of influence is there is an enormous, enormous amount of business to be made there. All right, there's going to be some of you that do this and some of you that don't. And I'm going to tell you how to turn the spigot on in your business really quickly. I want you to start your own networking group. And I want you to be really freaking selective in terms of who you invite. I do not want you to have it at a Denny's where you can go in there and spend $2.99 and get a Grand Slam special, whatever they call it. I want you to have it at a high-end restaurant or country club where there is some pain associated with joining. I'm not going to a networking group to make new friends. I'm going to a networking group working with professionals that can help elevate me and my business. So I want to have it at a high-end place where people take it seriously. You ready, guys? I want you to put on your thinking caps. Who would you invite to this networking group that you were going to start? You're going to love this.
Other agents?
Hell no, Jim. Love you, but hell no.
What was the list we just went over?
Insurance agents.
Insurance agent,
Attorneys.
maybe a lender.
Say it again. You bingo. You just got it. You don't have to call an insurance agent. You don't have to call a divorce attorney, a bankruptcy attorney, a state attorney. You don't have to call HR managers. Guess what? You're going to see them each and every week. And they're coming there with the intent or the purpose for you all to help each other grow your respective businesses. You want to make a fortune overnight? Invite your insurance agent, divorce attorney, bankruptcy attorney, probate attorney, handyman, credit repair person, HR managers, CPA, property managers to your new networking meeting. And be selective. Let people know what the intent of the meeting is. That you're a people person, you love people, but you are there to assist people in growing their business, and in turn, you are going to ask for new business. But I am telling you, anybody work at the Keller Williams in Plantation, Florida? Rookie of the year, Keller Williams. Not one door knock. Started a networking group and did about $280,000 last year in commission. It's right there for the taking. Start a networking group and do it. Michael Friedman, you would be great at this. You have an investment banking background. You're able to walk the walk and talk the talk. The truth is, as I look at some of your pictures, many of you would be great at this. If you built it, they will come. And I want you to build it so you could select who you're going to invite into the organization. Make sense? Next way to build an organization, and I'm not great in this, and I fought this tooth and nail. Vicki, you know where I'm gonna go with this because you and I are a little kind of flimsy with technology. But, you know, listen, I'm 59 years old. And I've been intimidated by technology. You can see me, I'm starting flustering around. I'm like, where is Chris? You know, the reality is that I pushed back on technology over and over. And I made a vast mistake, vast. Because if you look at the most successful coach in the country today, it's probably Tom Ferry. Why? Because he uses social media more than anybody, and he makes that poison pill more digestible because people hate prospecting. Could we agree? Yeah. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, you absolutely must have a social media presence. When you list a home, you want to let the world know that somebody entrusted you with their most important asset. You want to blast that out absolutely all over so people know that people trust you and that you're well respected in your community. When you are working with a buyer, you want it on the internet. You want to blow up Facebook. You want to blow up Instagram. You want to maintain a presence. Vicki, in your area, Nicole Solari, right? One of the best agents in America today. What'd you do? 300 transactions last year in her 5th or 6th year in the business? When she takes a listing or is working with a buyer, feel like she's running for president of the United States? I mean, it's so out there. It is so in front of you. And she does that to garner the fact that she is an active professional, that people want to work with her. Blow up your social media forums. I want to show you a couple of other things really quickly, and then I'm going to get into how you track this. This is not the one I was looking for. Work your sphere of influence. I talked about this. Last one I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to get into how to track all of this, is one of my favorite agents, actually based out of Northern California. She is a crackerjack. Her name is Lois Cox. I don't know if anybody in the call knows her. She's a great woman. She's been a former flight attendant and has built her business simply by networking with other realtors. Patty, you and I have talked about this as well. Lois Cox goes to the National Association of Realtors, lives in California, goes to the California Association of Realtors, and goes to different marketing meetings throughout Northern California every week. And her goal is to befriend other realtors, so when they have a client that is moving to her area of expertise, that she is top of mind. It is a great way to build your business. Lois has been selling north of 40 to 50 homes in Northern California for the last 25 to 30 years. She's never knocked on a door. She's never done any of the things I talked about other than befriending realtors. Remember also, folks, that most people that get their real estate license, 80% of the time, they're out of the business within 2 years. Befriend those people. Their reticular activator is enhanced once they leave the business and they go, oh, I wish I kept my license. Pay them a referral fee and keep them engaged. Tell them to keep their license and have them use you as a resource. Use your boards, your local boards, use marketing meetings, use the National Association and your state association as being a referral source. I want to share with you, I don't think real estate is an easy business. I think it could be a great business if you run it as a profession and not as a hobby, but you're not going to have to prospect in perpetuity, because using the same analogy I made before, if each and every one of you could build up your business to where you're doing 30 transactions a year, at the end of 10 years, you'll have served 300 people. If people move every 5 years, that means 20% of your database will roll over. There are 60 deals to be had each and every year by simply staying in touch. Yes, as somebody who's trying to ramp up their business or build their business, it requires you to lead generate and prospect consistently over and over again. But what happens is the longer that you're in the business, once you've identified your clientele, as long as you do a good job staying in touch with them, that clientele is there to provide you an income in absolute perpetuity. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Questions, comments, and then I'm going to get into how to track all of this, and then I'm going to hand it off. I'm going to talk about 3 ways to ignite your business, and then I'm going to hand it off to Christoph. Christoph, are you on the phone, bud? I hope you're on the phone. We're not on our phone, we're on the Zoom call. See, I'm really tech challenged. All right, I'm going to show you the screen. So does everybody did anybody not get the economic model? Everybody got it. If not, unmute, let us know. Chris is listening.
I did not get the economic model. This is Paris.
Paris,
I did.
Chris, did you get?
I did not either.
I saw it in the
Paris?
email.
I didn't either.
Whoa.
I did not either.
Hold on. Chris, can you do me a favor?
I'm
I am so proud of myself, and I'm going to say this. Can you guys go into the chat and put down, if you did not receive the economic model, with your email address so Chris could resend it to you? Cannot believe I just came up with that.
Just to be clear, the email that
And
went
also,
out.
Eric, also to check on spam. I mean, I know I had mine on spam. I know somebody else had it in the spam folder, so it may be there.
Yeah, and then they're links. They're not attachments in the email. They're links to a Google Drive file, both. So,
Gotcha.
I had mine in spam folder.
yeah,
So
if you don't have it, just go ahead and do like Alan just did and put your email into the chat box, and I'll make sure that you get it here today. Now.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. So I'm going to go back to that document. And there's one thing on that document I didn't go through with you last time. I think you're going to like this a lot. And it's how to track your business. I forget who asked me in the last call. Patty had asked me. She said, I really want to know how many people I have to talk to in order to hit my goals. And I thought, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So let me open this up. How do I'm going to open this up. Ellen Group worksheets. Realtor coaching classes, real estate training information. Okay, guys, open now. All right. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Can everyone see the economic model worksheet?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome, guys. All right. On the left-hand side, there is a tab, and it's called the Prospecting Tracker. I think it's really important to track each and every day what is or isn't working for you. And this takes a total of 3 seconds to do. So today is Wednesday. Watch how simple this is, okay? So I'm gonna go delete, 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 delete. Okay, today is Wednesday. Today is June 3rd, right? So I'm gonna go June 3, okay? I'm gonna tab over. And let's say today I did whatever prospecting method you use, whether it's door knocks, NODs, expireds, networking groups, mixers, referrals. I want you to put in what methodology was used. So I did doors around open house, okay? I want you to track how much time you are spending on a daily basis doing the most important thing that to do in real estate, which is to lead generate and prospect, okay? I then want you to put in how many contacts you had, how many people that you engaged in conversations, and out of those conversations, how many of those people actually were fortunate enough to go into your database, right? What's gonna happen, it's going to track for you at the end of the month how much total time you spent on the most important or rainmaking element of your business, how many people that you spoke to in totality, and the new amount of people that are potential clients that you put into your database or drip campaign. You can work these numbers backwards and say, you know what? I don't need to know if I need to, it's not important for me to work 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day or 2 hours a day. What's important, if I want to do X amount of deals, I've got to speak to Y amount of people. You're able to work the numbers back differently once you start tracking, and that's the key to doing this. It takes 3 seconds to fill this out. You're going to put in the time you spent doing it, the number of contacts that you made, and the potential clients of those that you're going to put into your database. And what this is going to tell you is something that's really important. It's going to tell you which prospecting method is going to work best for you. I started off today's class saying, don't come up with some type of ideology, what's going to work and not what's not going to work. Think of this as trying on a new article of clothing and see what fits best for you. Let's track and play to your strength. So you're going to track what prospecting method works best for you, what is yielding you the best results, so you can continue to do that and play to your strength. It's also going to tell you how many hours per month do you spend prospecting. And if you're not generating the type of business that you want to generate, it's going to dictate to you that you're not spending enough time prospecting. And lastly, it's going to convey to you which prospecting days of the week yield you, in fact, the best results. And I will tell you, when I started off today's class by saying I knocked on 200 doors a day and typically had 100 conversations, and out of those 100 conversations, I typically put 8 people into my database, I was able to talk about that intelligently with some sense of clarity because I was tracking all of this on a consistent basis. And again, this document is right in your economic model in performance tracker, in prospecting tracker. Let's open it up for questions and comments about today's class. I've gone through a lot of material. I'm sure that some of you are spent with the amount of content. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Remember that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first few steps that you take. Don't feel overwhelmed. Small bites. Small. Notice you're asking about pre-foreclosures, notices of default, Noel? And Patty?
No, I was answering Patty's question.
Gotcha. And I believe that's going to be a great market, again, to go to, is NODs. I think you're going to see those. So I am focusing. I have not sold real estate in a long time. I've been putting on these realtor coaching classes for eternity. And as a way to lead my team and lead by example, I'm going to go into the market for the first time in a very long time. And I think I could sell a large number of homes. It's kind of like a challenge for myself. And I'm exploring things in the marketplace constantly that are new. And there are three things that I think that are an absolutely pour gasoline onto your business and absolutely blow it up for you. One is a group called 72 Sold. It's a group out of Arizona, and it is a really, really smart marketing concept. I know Vicki Jackson, I talked to her about it. She's enrolled. I know that Todd Watkins is looking at it. So people, not only myself, but people who I really respect that are super successful are engaged with it. It's called 72 Sold, and it's a hybrid of traditional real estate and an auction where they do upfront marketing, creating what's called social proof. It's a great program, and their focus is, instead of going out and constantly prospecting, they're getting people to reach out to you. Vicki, is that a fair summation in the way that I'm describing this? It has gotten tremendous recognition in the marketplace. It is called 72 Sold, and their top agent last year, first year in real estate, hold on to your hats, folks, did over 100 transactions. Is that accurate, Vicki? You want to absolutely explore this program. It is called 72 Sold. Put it in Google, but it's something that I've been looking at. Time constraints, you know, I'm involved in several things, but it is one of the best platforms I've seen in a very long time in real estate, 72 Sold. I think a great way to build your business is going after what we call REO properties. I'm one who believes, you know, there's lots and lots of debate if we're going to see a V-shaped recovery or we're going to see a U-shaped recovery. I don't believe that you could shut down the world economy for 3 to 4 months and have a quick snapback on the world economy. I emphatically believe, and I am pursuing this aggressive, is that you want to identify a relationship with asset managers that represent financial institutions or banks. There is a company based out of Atlanta. It's called REO Rockstars. REO Rockstars. Listen, it's the easiest way to scale your real estate business. If what we think happens, you become an order taker, right? You engage REO manager, you befriend them, and once you earn their business, it's like order taking, and that's something that you have a business that is just consistent in terms of you getting transactions. So it's called REO Rockstars. There are several elements to it. I believe the course is $199. They have a speed course that you don't need to do. I have hired a virtual assistant to assist me with some of my office work and setting that up. If you need to use a virtual assistant, I'm more than happy to share. I pay them $10 an hour. They did, so you know, you have to identify the financial institutions, the banks that have the REOs in your area. Then you have to identify the corresponding asset management companies and then asset managers. I don't do that work myself. My time is best spent building relationships with people, either on the phone or in person. So I use a virtual assistant to put that data in place so I could spend my time selling, which is what I get paid most to do. Debbie, does that make sense what I'm saying? You have to be crazy being in real estate not to do something with the REO managers right now, with the REO accounts. It will absolutely ignite your business. And lastly, and I just had my team on this morning, we did a cold calling session. Jimmy was on the call, Will was on the call, Noel was on the call, Patty was on the call, I think Rich was on the call. And I did a cold calling session this morning with a company called Land Voice. And Land Voice for years has been a company that used to get telephone numbers of expired for sale by owners and or NODs. And they have just started a for sale by owner program that is unlike anything that I've seen my entire time in real estate. I think the hardest thing about being a realtor is the unknown. And again, I talked about this at the beginning, waking up and going, gosh, who do I call today? You know, your audience is not defined for you. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, an expired or a for sale by owner is clearly defined. And if you take action and reach out to them with something of value, there is a tremendous amount of business to be had. As a matter of fact, if you go to landvoice.com and look on their webpage, there's an agent that I reached out to yesterday. His name is Cody Gibson. He took over 100 listings in a month. Noel's laughing. I was with Noel and Will yesterday, and I did, in fact, reach out to him. But it is a great way to skyrocket your business using LandVoice and their for sale by owner program. And what I did in an effort to provide you a very detailed, mapped out strategy, how to scale that business, I asked the person who runs LandVoice to come onto the call today and to be able to take you through the program. I don't receive anything for this. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not trying to upsell you. I love this program because it defines your audience, and it is a step-by-step process that could put 5 to 10 transactions in your pipeline each and every month. Christoph, are you on the phone? All right, I'm going to call Christoph. I don't know where he is, so you'll hear my conversation.
Hey, Eric, one of the things I'll add to LandVoice, I used them for crud about 2 years.
Yeah.
But one of the neat things is you can actually take your database, like say if you're farming,
Yeah.
or the notice of defaults and different things. If you get leads from another source, you can upload those leads to LandVoice, and they will find the contact information for those people for you. I think they charge you 50 cents a name for it, for the successfully successfully getting the information. But it's one of those things that's another service that I know. I think we're on a different call, and I don't think Christoph talked about that in the other call with LandVoice. But you can actually upload that in. So if you've got recent expireds here, or you can go back and pull that database, and you can give them that information, and they will look up the info for you too.
I will tell you, the pricing on this, I think it's $1 a day for 90 days, so it's $90. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer.
That's a lot better pricing than what I had.
Yeah,
considerably.
So it's a great platform. Like I said, we actually were on a call this morning, watched it firsthand. We were calling people together as a group, and it was impressive. It was really impressive. So he's going to be on the phone in a couple of minutes, guys. What are your comments, questions, or concern about today's class? This, again, is your class. I'm here to facilitate, but I would really love your feedback or any questions. I'd love to take your questions.
So with regard to your FSBOs and your expireds, in particular your expireds, when you're talking about grinding, I got the impression that you're talking about going to the different houses. Is that the same, or is that different, or what's the mix between expired and FSBOs? I mean, expired and FSBOs were a big part of my business, and it's not as much anymore, but it was from grinding on the phones, from memorizing scripts and actually just being real. So what's the good mix in that with Eric?
I would never not think about calling an expired, because it's an audience that's defined for me. I would never think about not calling a FSBO, but I would say, and again, I spent an exceptional amount of time prospecting, because to me, it was very clear that if I wasn't prospecting, I was costing myself money. So I would say that I probably, Jim, spent 65, 70% of my day doing cold prospecting, calling around properties just listed or sold, calling around open houses, calling around expireds. Or if I had a buyer, I would have that buyer, and I'm going to do this in your buyer's presentation, I'd have that buyer come into my office and write a letter. They're authorizing me to go into a community and let people know that they're actively looking, and due to inventory constraints and identifying a property has been challenging, but that they were pre-approved for their loan. And what that did is that gave me an opportunity to bring on more listings. Does that make sense? Jim, did I answer your question? Anybody else, guys?
Yeah, Eric, it seems like your programs is mostly designed for cities, for large markets, and a lot of it would be applicable to smaller markets. But do you have any specific advice for a smaller market?
You know, a great question. So I think that I was actually sold in a smaller market. So it's really interesting that you said that. So I had lived in Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach for years. And I had moved up to Santa Clarita. Do you know the area? On Highway 5. It was really kind of like the last stop before the, it was the last stop in LA County. And it was a really kind of small town mentality. It was a small feel to it. And I think at the end of the day, selling is about solving problems and meeting people's needs. And it's always about just engaging with people in your community. And I quite frankly think it's easier to do outside of a big city than it's easier to do outside of a big city. It's much easier to do in a smaller city, in a small town environment where people are typically more receptive to having a conversation. My whole model is based on what I call consultative selling, asking people questions and building relationships by gathering information and knowing how to properly serve them. So it's not for the big city environment at all. I apologize if that's what came out of today, but I always sold in a much smaller type of environment where my focus was simply on building a relationship based on trust and confidence with people.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else before I hand off to Christoph? Vicky, what do you got for me?
So when you were talking about the farming stuff, getting stuff from the title company, all that stuff is going to be, is that written somewhere? You're going to give us that?
It is. So I'm going to send out Chris Buckwall the notes in the class. And yeah, the 3 to 5% turnover ratio and one agent not having north of 30 to 40% of the listings. Absolutely, Vicky.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else, guys? Any comments in the class? Listen, I love constructive criticism. I love feedback because the more input you give me, the more I could tailor the class to your liking. Is there anything so far you'd like me to change, or modify about the class? Rosa, I see that you want to say something.
Yeah, question. I heard that you should have more than one farm area, like condo, single family, so that you can get your leads, I guess, from at least a different, a variety of sources. Is that correct?
I think at the end of the day, I don't mind having multiple farm areas, but that requires you typically getting in your car and driving. I think less is more. I typically like one farm area where I could just spend my time and effort really building my brand in that community, in that one area. I mean, if you need to have 2 smaller farms, a condo and a small neighborhood, as long as it doesn't exceed 400, but I've always personally preferred 2 things. One is just having one farm area so I could really focus on building my brand there. And number 2, and this is a really personal decision, I've always elected not to farm in the neighborhood that I live. And there's no right or wrong to that, Rosa. I've always just preferred to have my privacy and go into a neighborhood that was close to where I lived, but not in the neighborhood where I lived. Anybody else before I hand it off to Christoph? Any feedback before I hand it off to Christoph? Yes, please, Melanie.
So would you mind kind of going over Breaking Bread again and just be somewhat, and I know you tried to dive into it, but I'm just curious specifically, like, can you give an example of what you would do to break bread?
Oh, God knows how many coffees I have on a weekly basis. Coffee, a glass of wine, a lunch or a breakfast. It's constantly, and studies show, Melanie, that when you do that with somebody, it takes the relationship and simply drives it deeper. And I use that time to really elicit constructive feedback and ask for business.
So you just sort of tailor I'm sorry, you tailor the event, whatever you do, to the relationship with that person.
Exactly. And I do it a lot with past clients because I feel that we as an industry, I think we lose sight of the fact that that's free money as long as we maintain that relationship. So I would, what I do is I break bread frequently. It's just a great way and a really strong return on investment, you know, to treat somebody to a $5 cup of coffee or a lunch. It's a great way to drive the relationship deep, understand what somebody likes or doesn't like about your services so you can modify accordingly, and then put yourself in a position to ask for business.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hey, Eric, to that,
Yes.
being based on her question, you said, I always ask for the business. What is it that you say so that we're not too pushy, but we're clearly asking for the business?
You know, I'm very
during a
scripted.
coffee or a, you know, a lunch or.
You know, I'll always ask for constructive feedback in an effort to elevate the level of services that I provide to my client. I'd love to hear from you what I can do to enhance my services. How did I perform overall? Was I responsive? Was I detailed? Did I ultimately get you the results that you were seeking? And if so, I'm sure you're aware that real estate is a referral-based business. Do you happen to know of any friends, relatives, or coworkers that may have an interest in moving to our neighborhood that's a similar situation close? Or do you happen to know the 3 or 4 neighbors on either side of you or the 5 across the street that have mentioned the possibility of selling either now or in the near future? But
And
again, Joanna,
how can we start that off if they've never worked with us, but we're just somebody who we're meeting now in the community? We've got them to come to a coffee, you know, or
you know, I
lunch.
typically, it's a good question. I typically, you know, would never ask somebody out to a coffee unless there was a relationship that existed. And I think people, you know, they want to, what you want to do is focus on fostering and cementing a relationship by asking appropriate questions. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put them into your drip campaign, which I'm going to discuss Friday. And the whole focus of the drip campaign is having a system in place that assists you in facilitating moving that relationship forward, really cementing that relationship, Joanna. So you ultimately can share a lunch or coffee or a glass of wine with them. But you wouldn't just, you know, if you and I just met and I was prospecting, I wouldn't say, hey, let's go for a cup of coffee. To me, I'm going to use that time wisely once a relationship is in place. Does that make sense? Great questions. Anybody else?
Eric, this is Jimmy. Hey,
yep.
I was going to mention, once you get that person to go to have coffee, lunch, you know, breakfast, work situation, you know, I think on their end, they're seeking for that, you know, relationship as well, right? Regardless of what service. So if they're going to go to have breakfast, lunch, you know, with you, then they're looking for that reciprocal relationship also. So I think that makes it easier because they're looking for the same thing as what you're looking for.
Agreed. Anybody else before I hand off to Christoph? Guys, this is your class. Feel free to ask away. I want to make sure that you leave here today feeling you should have a blueprint in place from this class to know that you never have to go into your office and stare at the walls, that each and every moment should be filled with activity so you could build out a vibrant business. And that's my hope for this class. It's a lot of information that I conveyed today. I know you have to let it assimilate. If you have need any clarity in anything that I covered, pick up the phone and call me. I'm delighted. My son is coming in town tonight from California, so I may be in a little bit of a hiatus, but I promise I'll get back to you. I'm just thrilled that he's coming in town tonight. Any constructive feedback for our remaining 4 classes? Anything that you'd like me to do different or tailor things differently?
I'll add, I know that everybody feels like they're probably drinking from a fire hose right now on full blast, Eric. And I would just encourage these guys. This is a ton of information. This is exciting for me. It makes me want to get just back to the basics of doing like real estate from day one. But I want to remind you guys, like, look at all these lead sources as like legs on a table, right? I mean, your lead platform that you're trying to generate from is this is a ton of different legs that Eric is adding to the tabletop to support it. And become a master at 1 or 2 sources before you try to do everything. is what I would say. I'd say, you know, I mean, really give one source a try, where, I mean, you're doing it for 6 to 8 months with things on that is what I would recommend. Is really, because you need to become a master before you say, okay, what's going on? Because I know I'm always the victim of the shiny object that's out there, and a lot of salespeople are, but that's not what gets the bills paid. Being consistent does.
God, that was really valuable. And the key is consistency. You need to prospect and lead generate each and every single day and play to your strengths. Christoph, what do you got, buddy? You're muted, Christoph. There we go.
Thank you so much. Okay, you want me to dive right in?
Please, the forum is yours, guys. Pay attention. This is a game changer. So myself and my team adopted this morning. I'm giving to you the same tools and systems that I implement. So please.
Okay, I noticed we have a couple people on the call that were on the call this morning, right? So this morning we had a call with Eric and a part of you guys, and we did a couple cold calls to for sale by owners. And it was not perfect because we didn't have anything prepared. It was a pure cold call. But I'm gonna show you now how you can actually maximize your success with calling FISBOs with a little bit more preparation. And at least 50% of them say, okay, let's do it. Let's work with you. All right. So I think Eric walked away. I just wanted to see if I need to introduce it from the beginning. I'm Christoph with LandVoice. LandVoice has been the top lead provider in the nation for over 30 years. And we started with for sale by owners, later on added expired, pre-foreclosures, call capture, neighborhood search, all those different lead tools so that you have plenty of leads every day to call. He invited me today to show you step by step what you can do to get a FISBO appointment and eventually get a listing. So here's what I would do. Sign up for LandVoice, first of all, because we give you all the for sale by owner leads besides expireds and with phone numbers and pre-foreclosures with phone numbers and all this stuff. But we're talking about FISBOs right now. Every morning when you log into LandVoice, you will see all your for sale by owner leads. With phone numbers, you will have the ad, even a picture of the home. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna sort by price and call on the most expensive FISBO first. Why? Because most commission, right? And you know that a lot of agents are gonna call on those. So what do you say at the beginning so they don't hang up on you? The whole key is you don't want them to hang up. You want them to say, interesting, or yes, let's tell me more about this, right? So here's what you can do. You call, and when they say hi, then you have to state that you're an agent. You have to say, hi, I'm Christoph with eXp Realty, and I am an agent, but before you hang up, I'm actually not calling to ask for your listing. In fact, I don't want to list your house. Just pause and let them ask a question, and they will probably say, so why are you calling? And you can say different things. If it's a completely a cold call, you had no previous contact, this is what you would say. I have invested in a multi-million-dollar technology that helps to bring in more buyers. Normally I use it for my own listings, but I can give this technology for free to you so your phone rings off the hook with buyer leads. Okay, pause again. Let them ask questions. Don't just rattle on. All right. So, and then you can see right away if they are, you know, standoffish or defensive, or if they're really interested to know what you want to say. Then you can say, the technology I invested in is called call capture. I noticed right now you're advertising your home with your own cell phone number. Is it correct? And they will probably say yes. You'll probably notice that a lot of people are calling on the cell phone numbers, professionals, mortgage lenders, carpet cleaners, real estate agents like me. And it would be a really good idea to take that number off and replace it with a non-confrontational call capture number dedicated to selling your home with a voice recording that describes your home, the price, have a professional flyer with that number on it, have that number on your Facebook ad, Craigslist ad, and wherever you want to advertise, Zillow and forsalebyowner.com. And again, pause, let them give you some feedback and overcome an objection. If they say nothing is free, well, this is free. The reason why I give it for free for you is because only how many people can buy your home? And they say one. Well, you get to work with this one buyer or with those couple buyers that express interest. And what's in it for me, I would like to work with those that actually are not interested in your home. So it is in my best interest that your phone rings off the hook with buyer leads. I will follow up with you every day to see if there's any more I can do, how many buyers you have right now, and which ones are not interested, so I can work with them. And then they may ask, okay, so do I have a bunch of strangers show up to walk through my house with that? Actually not, because we can have a mortgage lender involved, and they can get notified the same second that you get a text message and an email with that buyer lead information. The mortgage lender will get the same text message and email the same second, and they will get on the phone and they can say something like, look, I'm working with it for sale by owner. They requested that anybody who, before they walk through the house, had a chance to get pre-qualified. Have you been pre-qualified? So in other words, the mortgage lenders are pre-qualifying every buyer lead that calls on your home. And then they may ask, well, this is almost too good to be true. Is it really free? What's the catch? And you say, there is no catch. I would love to actually send you a recording that I have already recorded for you so you can listen to it and see if you like it. And you can keep it either way. Most of them say, okay, I'd like to hear that, right? You can also say, I can come by this afternoon and bring you your own for sale by owner sign with that number and a flyer that I have created for you. And again, there's no contract, nothing. The minute you put this in your yard, the minute you post it on social media, you will double or triple your phone calls, okay? So this is one way, right? You can call and go through the whole thing. Sometimes they may tell you, oh, that sounds interesting, I don't have time, and they cut you off right at the beginning. So is there anything you can send me? And then you can say, I would love to. I can send you a short video, it's 60 seconds long, and it explains the whole process. After you watch that, I will just call to follow up. Would that be okay? And most of them say, sure. Okay. We give you a video, and I will actually send you the link to that video here in a second. And that video will describe exactly the script that I just used in a shorter way, very condensed, very nice with pictures. Okay. So you could send that video and then follow up. Another thing you can send them is, of course, a voice recording about the property. If they say, well, I don't know, is there anything you can send me? Yeah, let me send you a voice recording about your property. Then you call or email Jonathan or LandVoice, and we have a whole team that creates a voice recording for you, sometimes the same day or the latest within 24 hours. Then you take that voice recording, send it to them, and then you follow up. Now, guys, this morning we had a call. We cold called 4 for sale by owners. One didn't answer, 3 of them answered. And one of the ladies, she was a little short, but she said, yeah, okay, well, send me a voice recording about my property. And Jonathan said, okay, let me do that. So he sent it to her, I think 10 minutes later. He recorded it right after the call. And then he called me later and said, Christoph, that lady said it sounded amazing. And she said, yeah, I would like to learn more about this. So he sent that lead already to somebody on your team, Eric, that is in that area. So they already have a Fishbowl lead they're working with after 3 phone calls, completely cold calls. Okay.
Awesome.
So there's another way to do it. You could door knock. You could pick your best Fishbowls that you have from LandVoice, and armed with the recording and with a for sale by owner sign and with a flyer, you show up on the doorstep. And guys, it doesn't matter if they're brand new Fishbowls or they have been trying to sell the home for 2 weeks already. Just make sure they are not listed with an agent, but If they have been on the market already for a week or 2 weeks, it's even better because there's a reason why they haven't sold, right? They don't have enough buyer traffic. So you show up at the doorstep and then you can say, look, I'm a realtor, but don't slam the door on me, make a little joke or something. I'm not here to ask for a listing. I actually noticed on your sign outside, that you have your cell phone number out there. I just wondered, how does it work? Do you get a lot of calls from agents? Just, feel their pain, let them talk. And then say, look, I have a sign here for you with a number that you don't have to use your cell phone number. Show them the sign and that this we can put in your yard directly. Do me a favor, call that number on that sign. Or give them the flyer and say, call the number on that flyer. They will make the phone call right in front of you, and then they hear their own description of the home. A beautiful property commercial, well done. At the end of the commercial, it will say, hey, press 1 to talk to the for sale by owner, and tell them, hey, just hang up. Don't even press, because most people don't press 1. They hang up, and then your phone rings, bim, and you can show them, look, I just captured all your information. And they may say, well, my number is unlisted. It doesn't matter. This system captures every number, even if it's unlisted. Isn't that beautiful? You can have that for free. Show them the flyer, show them the yard sign, and they just heard the property commercial, right? The only objection you need to overcome is if they say it sounds too good to be true. But what you did for sure is you set yourself apart from any other agent who knocks the door, who calls them with commission breath, wanting to list their home. You're the only one who says, I can increase your buyer traffic without you having to list with me. Guys, this is coming from contribution in its purest form, with no hidden agenda, with no trick, right? It's really a win-win situation. Maybe there is a little hidden agenda, right? Because eventually, you don't only want to work with the buyers who are not interested in the home, you do want to list a property. So eventually you can say, look, you noticed how I work. You liked the buyers that came. You had a lot of conversations, but you still haven't sold your home. I would love to show you my listing presentation and show you how I actually sell homes and how I could have sold your home already while you were doing this, And then you can do your script and you can do your listing presentation. But now you have a friendship and you actually have somebody who owes you something because you brought them all those buyer leads. Okay.
Christian, can I ask you, so what is, as for everyone on the phone to hear, I know what the answer is, but what is the capture rate when somebody allows you to provide them the sign and the recording and you're essentially marketing their home? What is the capture rate of listing with that agent?
Okay, so that actually goes back to the NAR statistic of FSBOs. 91% of FSBOs right now end up listing with an agent. 91%. It used to be 84% just 3 years ago, okay? Now the question is that you asked, what is the capture rate with that system? It is basically the same, okay? 91% will end up picking an agent, but guess what? Who are they gonna pick after having your sign out there, having pre-qualified leads, and know that you have a lot more to offer if you do it all for them? They're gonna pick you, right? So you have a really high chance of getting that listing. We know from an experience, if you send them the flyer or the recording and they listen to it or watch the video, if you do it right, and it will take a while, it may take a week for you to become really comfortable, but you will be able to get about 8 out of 10 agents to at least try it, okay? 8 out of 10. If you do a regular job, like an average client of ours, 5 out of 10 should say, okay, let's try this. And then again, the NAR statistic applies. 91% of those guys will end up not selling the home on their own, but picking an agent, okay? So the very last method that I wanna share with you is texting. If I would text a for sale by owner, I would have 2 options with knowing call capture. I could text them either the property commercial and say, hey, listen to this. This is for you for free. I would like to tell you more how you can use this without listing with me. Just send them the property commercial and they will call you back because they're intrigued. What are you doing with this? I'm trying to sell the home on my own. and then you have an opportunity to have a conversation. The other option is you send them the call capture video, which is a short marketing video about call capture, which tells them that they can use it for free without listing with you. Okay, that's the other option. I would not text them just to say, look, I have something for you with anything, right? So provide some content in the text. Then the same day you want to follow up and say, I just sent you a text message. Did you watch that video or did you hear the property commercial that I texted you? And again, reiterate, hey, and by the way, I'm not calling to ask for your listing. Okay. So any questions?
I think we've had them on the phone for so long. I want to encourage everybody. Like I said, I am actively involved. I'm actually working with a group of people where you could hear me on the phone. You're welcome to join. I also wanted to make sure that everybody signed up for their one-on-one with me. My calendar is getting pretty filled up, so please remember to sign up for a one-on-one. I believe Chris has sent out a Calendly, that is the worst word, Calendly link, so you can get on my calendar and schedule a one-on-one.
Okay.
I think he just put it in the chat. And then, like I said, I am a huge fan. Not only is Christoph a great guy, but I absolutely love what they're doing in the market with Land Voice. I'll be actively participating, and feel free to join in. I do group prospecting calls with Will, Jimmy, a lot of people on this call. Feel free to jump on the line with us and watch how we build our business.
Thank you so much, Eric. Eric, I just sent out some chat in the chat box, some links. And I'm going to send one more link. I'm going to send the short video that I mentioned a couple times so that your agents can, or your partnership can watch that.
Christoph, Alan is asking, what is the cost of the service? Do you still have the 90 for 90 or?
So we have something a lot better. Let me just open this here. Hold on. Go to landvoice.com/Orland. And I'm gonna see if I can share this really quick. Guys, can you see my screen?
Only partially, yes.
Okay, so if you go to landvoice.com/Orland, you're getting to this landing page right here. The picture you see on the video, that's our CEO. He's announcing our special relief program during COVID-19. And if you scroll down, right here, it says we are offering 75% off for the first 3 months. And there's no commitment that you have to continue beyond that. What does 75% off mean? Normally, that pro bundle that we give you is $500 a quarter, and with that program it's going to be $124. If you want to add call capture to it, it's normally $600 a quarter, and you get it for $149.25. All you got to do is go down here, put in your information, next step, and connect with one of our agents. I encourage you to do this today. This program actually should have expired on Friday, and they forgot to turn off the page or didn't have time. So I called them and said, okay, is it going to be throughout the end of the day? And they said, yeah, we probably don't get to it by today. So while it is on, and if you see it on tomorrow, you can do it too, but it might be gone by tomorrow. If you get on it today, you get it at 75% off, and that's the best deal ever. And we hope it never comes back, because it would mean that anything like COVID came back. So that is it, guys. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to me. Let me put my information here in case it's gone. Then you can contact me directly. Let me just stop the screen share. Oops, I don't want to leave the meeting.
Chris, is there anything that you wanted to add that I'm forgetting?
No, I think this is it. Just remember that we have a lot more than for sale by owners. That is definitely the easiest way to get appointments with that program. But we have also expireds with phone numbers, cell phone numbers, the best in the market, pre-foreclosures, which is going to be a big deal, neighborhood search, and by the way, you can use call capture for expireds as well. Just go to our website, click on call capture, and you see a bunch of examples how you can impress your expireds with those recordings. Yeah. Okay, here's my email if you want to contact me.
Chris McQuall, I know we're way over. Do you want to, am I missing anything? Anything you want me to convey prior to ending today's call?
I don't think so. I think in today's email that goes out with the documents, I just posted that in the chat. We'll make sure that Christoph's information is included in there. I also posted the Calendly link in there, but that'll be included in the email also. If you have time with Eric, that'll be included in the email also. But that's all I have.
Yeah, maybe one thing that I think we forgot to mention, guys, because you capture so many buyer leads and you have an amazing tool here, this is an incredible recruiting tool for EXP. Imagine if you want to bring over an agent and you're able to say, I have 10, 15 buyer leads coming every day through my automated system, and I do this so I can share those with my team members. Just an idea.
I'd add that this text capture system, probably 90% of realtors don't use it. And this is what the top 1% do. I know for me with the text capture, I'd say every 13 people that either sign, call in, or text, we convert to one more piece of business, either a buyer or a seller in the area. If you guys are not doing text capture, call capture at a minimum on all your listings, you're really missing out on a lot of free, easy business.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Guys, thank you very much for participating. I'll see everybody Friday at 1 p.m. If you need me, please reach out. Cell phone 415-595-9000. Stay safe, and thank you for participating in today's call. Christoph, thank you. And again, I appreciate everybody's participation. And yes, Phil, all classes are recorded, and Chris has made them available to have access to all of the information. And I look forward to doing my one-on-one calls with all of you, understanding your goals and making sure that you exceed those goals.
Thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.
Super.
Thank you, Eric.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you.